All right. Hi, how are you? All right. Good evening or good afternoon, everyone. We're gonna get started. I think we have one, two, we're gonna get started? Yeah. Okay. 2, 3, 4.
I really done this late.
Okay. Good job. That's what they tell me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, brother. All right, City Clerk. Let's go ahead and call to order. Roll call.
Mr. Calvo is absent. Ms. De La Vega,
Here.
Ms. Garcia Robes,
Present.
Ms. Perez,
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Here.
Mr. Tunidor,
Present.
Mr. Zogby.
Present.
Mr. President, you have enough members to conduct business.
Thank you so much. Invocation given by the city clerk.
Lord, we ask that you bless this meeting with guidance and direction in making the best decisions possible for the citizens of Hialeah. Amen.
Amen. Okay, please rise. Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Zogby.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a seat. Meeting guidelines, please.
All lobbyists must register with the city clerk as a courtesy to others. Please refrain from using cellular telephones or other similar electronic devices in the council chamber. A maximum of 3 speakers in favor and 3 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the council on any one item. Each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. No signs or placards in support of or in opposition to an item or speaker shall be permitted within the council chamber. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or posing questions on matters of public concern or on any item on the agenda may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may address the city council on any item pertaining to city business during the comments and questions portion of the meeting. A member of the public is limited to 1 appearance before the city council, and the speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The public can view public meetings on the city's YouTube page.
All right, moving on to comments and questions. Do we have any online, city clerk?
None online.
All righty. Do we have any in the chamber?
Registered speaker 1 is Eric Johnson.
All right, Mr. Johnson.
Eric Johnson, Hialeah Firefighters, Local 1102. Through the chair, if I may,
Yes, sir.
to Miss Melinda De La Vega, welcome. I apologize to you and the council, to the mayor, to all for not being here in the past couple months. But we want to welcome you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the city where you finally have a choice and a chance to make a change. We've experienced a lot of change in my many years here. Unfortunately, that change has not always been positive. We were blessed in the city in 2019 and again in 2021 with change that has actually reflected things such as morale, smiles, employees actually smiling, citizens who have actually made comments of, oh my God, they actually do care. That's not because of us. That's because of all of you who sit up there. And we thank you, but welcome to this council. Welcome to where we put the fun and dysfunction, as I always say.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Who else?
Jose Ozzie.
Mr. Ozzie?
Good evening, everybody. Hello, Mayor and City Council. I appreciate the fact that since Mayor Bowa has been in office, I have not been harassed by the police department. Councilman Zogby, you've been here like the longest. You remember when Carlos Hernandez had retired police officer Glenn Rice harassed me before and after I spoke. And I was even accused of a crime before Mayor Hernandez's election. I was expelled from all city facilities. I'm glad when I go home, like no police officers gonna pull me over and harass me. I'm really grateful for that, you know, for liberty. I'm grateful. But just like Carlos Mayor Carlos Hernandez has attacked the messenger, ignored the message. Mayor Bobo has continued this practice. So I understand this, right? He is mayor. He has several Instagram and Facebook's account, in addition to hiring Jackie Romero to be his publicist. He has an image to maintain, and I know that's part of politics. I accept that. No matter how many times Kamala Harris says the border is secure, she's not being truthful. Mayor Bobo is practicing the same political tactic. Say it often enough and the public will eventually believe you, while at the same time continue to attack those who are saying the truth. You witnessed this ugly event last time I spoke here. You, City Council, are a separate body of government from our mayor's office. Last month, I gave you a list of parks that were closed during the morning, and our summer programs forfeited free summer lunches to many of our communities. I also gave you a list of parks that eliminated all summer program and the list of 3 pools that have been closed down. Were you able to look at these facts, and do you have any actions that you will be taking?
Is that all, Mr. Ozzie?
No, I had this comments and question. I asked a question.
How do you choose to spend your time?
Yeah, I'll repeat the question. Last time I was here, I gave you facts of the 3 pools that have been closed, the summer lunches we forfeited, the parks that eliminated all summer program. I gave you facts of the name. Were you able to look into it?
No response? Okay. Do you want to keep going,
No
sir?
response, yeah. Last city council meeting, I gave you a list of 50% of the recreation employees, civil service that left the department, which is unheard of, and by tradition, by professional practice, the human resource department has to do an investigation. Were you able to read that investigation from the human resource department?
Okay. You keep going.
Do you care?
Mr. Ozzie, you could keep going if you'd like.
This is a comment and question. Do you care about what's happening to our recreation department?
Okay. Is that all?
That's an important question. This is comment and question.
Yeah, we always address the same thing, Mr. Ozzie.
Right?
Thank
But
you.
you get facts
Yeah.
and do you not care?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
So that's how you're gonna handle this?
Mr. Ozzie, we've gone over this a bunch of times already with you.
No, I'm just
We've
asking.
had our park directors come and speak and respond to you
Okay,
every single time.
I'm a retired employee. I've been giving you facts on it.
Okay.
You're just gonna ignore it and
Okay.
just pretend everything's dandy and good?
Thank you, Mr. Ozzie.
So that's the answer.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Your time's up. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Who's the next speaker?
I'll be
What's
back
that
with more
Okay,
information.
Mr. Santana?
Juan Santana, 5601 West 10th Avenue. Mayor, just looking at the agenda regarding the school being rented, Colia. It's not on tonight's agenda. You did say the last meeting that you were going to bring that information of who's renting the school and what would be the cost associated to the school for renting the school. And then it's not on tonight's agenda. Is your staff still working on getting that information?
Yeah, I wasn't ready for this meeting.
Okay, all right. And regarding the water issue last week, everybody was very confused. Online, they were like, "Oh, did Hialeah take that 4% off?" And I told everybody, "No, it's still here." You know, hopefully continue what you're doing, making the improvements to Hialeah. We all know it. We need it. So, and that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santana. Who else?
That's it, sir.
All right, perfect. Any other comments? All righty, we're moving on to presentations. Let's skip on over to item B, Mayor.
Thank you. Michael Willie, who's gonna, as Willie's is coming up, council, I've mentioned to you on a couple of occasions already, the work that's going on in our parks, specifically the programming for our kids. One of the things that we had talked about very early on was creating a program where our kids in Hialeah not only compete against other kids throughout the city, but they also compete. This is through the recreational program, which they pay, I think, maybe like $35, $40. they get to also play against kids from West Miami, Miami Springs, North Miami. This has been a very robust experience that our kids have been getting. And then there's an added piece of this. So for as anyone that wants to come up here and trash whatever the park program does, because that's what they do, the reality is, and you don't have to take it from me, you can take it from the kids and you can take it from the parents, they're all involved in something even extra. Because our park employees are so dedicated that through our park guys, all these kids that you see here are now involved in a travel component that families pay $200 to $300 a month for their kids to participate in. And our Hialeah kids are doing it for free. And they're playing in tournaments all over the place. And they're playing against kids that are getting high-level coaching that the parents are expending the money to do that, right? So I want you to know that your kids in Hialeah are getting high-level coaching. They're not expending that kind of money. And then you would ask yourself, well, what happens when we go to competition? They go and they win basketball games. That's what they do. And so I'm very proud of what they've been doing. This is a collection of kids that represent 16, 15, and 14-year-olds, and then also 13, 12, and 11-year-olds. They go against kids that sometimes the team they play against, there's not one kid under 6'1", 6'2". And the little guanitos from Hialeah go out there and they scrap and they play and they win basketball games. And today we've got some stuff to share with you.
Thank you, Mayor. William Sanchez, Parks and Community Engagement Director, 900 East 56th Street. Thank you, Council, Mayor, Chief, City Clerk. We've been working very hard to rebuild our programs, and the gentleman that we have given that task to, Gian, please come up. Yep. So like the mayor said, we're rebuilding our parks. It's not going to look the same as it looked 30 years ago. These needs have changed and we're addressing those needs. It's not just about playing sports. Recently in the meeting, the mayor spoke about this. If someone wants to come and read a book under a tree, that's what parks is about. It's not just sports. So we're addressing from, like I said last time, our last meeting here, we're making our parks multi-generational. And today we'll have a little example here. I'm going to turn over the mic to Gian, but we're very proud of Gian. He's one of the management team members that we have to kick out to go home. He refuses to go home. And that's something I believe in. Yeah, the wife's mad at me, Mikey, but we kick him out, but he still comes back. So Gian.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. Gian Barzaga, Parks and Recreation Supervisor, 900 East 56th Street. I really wanted to take this moment to highlight the tremendous success of our Hialeah Elite basketball program. It's a program that was created just 4 months ago. This program has already made a significant impact, building on the achievements from our Junior NBA League, our spring season, and our Summer Inner City League, which drew about 620 participants, which is the largest number of participants in any recreation league in all of Dade County. And really our aim here was to provide, like the mayor said, Hialeah kids with an opportunity to compete at the highest level of competitive basketball, really challenging the notion that only academies and travel programs that charge anywhere from $200 to $300 on monthly fees, can offer such experiences. We are the first Parks and Rec department in Florida to take this initiative. There is no competitive basketball in any Parks and Recreation program in all of Florida. We've given our kids the opportunity to go out there and shine. And after participating in 4 tournaments, Hialeah Elite has secured 2 championships and undefeated. We've even played international teams and have gone on to beat them. And this obviously is a team effort. This is a testament to the hard work of our players. We have exceptional leadership from our staff with Sean Shulman and Juan Rebellon and Andrew Campbell. these guys here, I grew up at the park, so this is obviously important to me. This is where I learned English. My mom would drop me off at the park, so thanks to the park, that was my daycare, my school. But these guys here, I have to kick them out of the park too, because they spend weekends. They're calling me at 8 o'clock in the morning. Hey, G, we're headed out to a game, and they're there until 6 p.m. with these kids, taking them to McDonald's, wherever they need to do. And most of the time is on donated time that they just want to dedicate to the kids. So with that being said, this is really important because in a time where recreational sports are dwindling in many cities, majorities of cities are now outsourcing to private basketball leagues. We're determined to expand this program, providing our Hialeah kids with even more opportunities to travel and represent our city and continue to bring championships home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gian.
So just, if you get the three coaches to stand up for a second, because I think it's important. It's important. So I think the parents will attest to this, okay? These guys are with these kids 9 o'clock at night. They're either outdoors or then they'll go and like yesterday, we're at a Hialeah High. They're out there working with the kids. I mean, actively working with the kids, okay? Giving them the time that they need so they could create the skill set. There are some boys out there that want to play high school basketball. My son's one of them. There's other boys out there that want to be able to compete in different opportunities. They're playing against elite talent. They don't win all the time, but they're playing against elite talent so I see the work that they do, and I appreciate all three of them because I see them out there consistently, rain or shine. They're figuring out a way how to communicate. If they're not practicing, they're sending them videos to look at of basketball offenses and whatnot. That's pure dedication. God bless all three, and I appreciate what you do. All right. So we got hardware to share or what?
Yeah, so we brought some hardware home, so we'd like to take a picture, let you guys get a chance to get around these trophies that we worked so hard to get. So
All right.
all the boys can come up. Yeah, they're coming up right now.
The camera's gonna get moved too. Y es bueno muy grande, si ahí mismo lo tapa. We're gonna have to stand on top of the chair though. Ale, Ale. Vamos a tener que ponerlo así. Ahora depende que trofeo en la cara. Ale, aquí. Should I get on the chair? Okay, perfect. There we go. 1, 2. Wait, don't move. I need 1 too.
Oh, that's the team photographer right there.
Am I gonna wait?
Hey, good stuff, boys.
It doesn't work on me.
Come on, Nick, come on. Yeah, yeah. So really quick, we'd like to also bring up another part of our elite programs, which is our elite dance program, and we'll bring up Miss Ashley DeChapelle.
Good evening. My name is Ashley DeChapelle. I'm the Performing Arts Coordinator at Gullet Theater at 4200 West 8th Avenue. I would like to recognize our Performing Arts Elite Dance Team. This team consisted of 5 young ladies who have dedicated the past 2 years to represent our great city to the world, led by their captain, Genesis Romero, their coach, Alyssa Perez, and myself. The team competed in Star Power National Dance Competition, which is a regional competition held in West Palm Beach. Team captain Genesis Romero competed in a solo number and placed first place in her category and second place overall. Genesis also competed in a duet number with her co-captain and sister, Giselle Romero, and they placed second place overall. The elite dance team also competed in a group number where they were awarded first place in their category and second place overall. This led them to receive the golden ticket and have the opportunity to compete at World Dance Championship. In July, the team went and competed at the national level of Star Power in Orlando, Florida. They once again competed in a solo, duet, and a group number. Genesis placed third place with her solo. Genesis and Giselle placed first and their duet and received a special judge award entitled Impactful Ending for their moving performance. Finally, the group number placed second place overall at the national level in their category. With their success, this elite team continues to grow. From the humble 5 dancers you see here today to now having an impressive 20 girls. With their continued hard work and dedication, they will show everyone that the city of Hialeah is the place to become a world-class dancer.
And Michael and George Martinez are working to rebuild their home. So they'll have a brand new dance floor very, very soon, right, Mike?
Okay. Let's head on over back to item A, presentation by the Kevin Linsky, Director of the Hialeah Department of Public Works. The Kevin Linsky.
Hold your applause.
Thanks for the walk-up. That's pretty good. Kevin Linsky, Public Works Department.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
So from basketball and dancing for kids, you guys get trash and wastewater. So there's something for everybody tonight. I don't want anyone to feel left out. This is this is gonna be a very good
I think we're
meeting.
gonna have gymnastics from now on. in Hialeah. Saw when you left.
So I have an exciting PowerPoint for you tonight. It won't be too long. It's going to talk a little bit about the budget and finances going forward for the next 3 years. But I think I might need a clicker. Thank you. I wanted to start off with some good news. So I'll probably have to say this twice because it's pretty interesting. Starting earlier this year, 1 in 25 families who get water and sewer services from Hialeah are paying 0 for water and sewer for an average of 18 months. So one more time, a shocking 4% of your customers are getting free water and sewer for 18 months. Last fall, we got in contact with a federal agency that had a one-time grant to provide water and sewer grant money for residents who had income issues. The federal government worked with Carl Holzenberg, who runs our financing, to match our customers with people from the federal government who were receiving aid for SNAP and something called LIHEAP. Those customers, there's nearly 2,000 residents who receive that money. An average household received between $1,200 and $1,600 in credit. And that's fundamentally 18 months of water and sewer services for free for your neediest residents. So that was the good news. It's not basketball. I don't get a trophy, but I'm going to take that. Thank you very much. I'm feeling taller already. I got one more good news slide, right? For the second year in a row, the administration on solid waste is recommending a 0% increase. You guys have the cheapest services for taking away trash, bulk, and recycling around. It's a fantastic contract. One more year, 0% increase. On the water and sewer side, it's again going to be a good year for residents of the city. The department is raising its rates on average 4%, but if the city council waives the fee for franchise, it is also 4%. So if everything goes according to plan for this year's budget, on the water and sewer side, a typical customer will receive a 0% increase for the year. I don't know that that's happened for quite some period of time. I just wanted to compare, because I love the county so much, what's going on with the city of Hialeah and Dade County. You got the double zeros for the city of Hialeah. If you were lucky enough to live in unincorporated county, you would have a small 27% increase in solid waste fees. Very modest, and 6% on the water and sewer side. This is just a quick look at your typical bill. This is the median customer in the city. They fundamentally pay about $25 for water services, just over $50 for wastewater, which in an average home, which has almost 3 people, it's about 90 cents a day. Just as a reference point as to what it costs to provide water and sewer. This is where all the money goes. So this year, our cash budget's really only around $104 million. Just about exactly half of the money goes to process wastewater. We pay that right to the county. Fundamentally, another 20% goes to the county and for our RO plant to pay for water. And the remainder of the service is for employees and for various contracts.
Kevin, so on a yearly basis, we're paying 4.5 million for the RO plant.
We are. Part of that is debt. That's just over 3 million, and then another 1.5 million or so on the water side.
Okay.
Now, there's a tremendous opportunity sitting in the middle of this next chart, if I can get to it. Thank you. Okay, a lot of numbers. You'll never figure them out unless you're, if you've got a magnifying glass. This traces a 10-year history within the city of what has happened on the wastewater side. You saw that 1/2 of all costs is associated with processing wastewater. Two things have happened to make this run up at 12% a year for 10 straight years. Our flow has gone up tremendously, and the charges have gone up substantially from the water and sewer department. Almost the entire budget, all those increases are driven 70% plus from these two factors that are on this chart. And this is actually an opportunity, but I need a click. Thank you. These are kind of throwaway charts. This is your system. If you ever wondered what happened when you flush the toilet or take a shower, it goes to 101 different holes in the ground fundamentally throughout the city. Next chart. To operate the system, believe it or not, there's close to 700 miles of pipe underground that we have to keep track of on the wastewater side. And that becomes important in the rest of this presentation, that 700 mile. Okay, here's where the story gets a little interesting. If you look at this chart, you see in blue the amount of water that the city uses. You would think the city would use more and more water. We don't. The county doesn't. The country doesn't. People aren't using more water. In fact, it's been flatlined for a long time. But you start seeing around 2019 where the wastewater stream takes off. It starts increasing dramatically. That's what's been costing an awful lot of the money. It costs a lot more just on a per 1,000 gallons to process, and we're pumping a lot more wastewater into the system. So there's a little bit of a throwaway chart. This is just your average day from you getting up in the morning, taking a shower, going to bed. On the bottom squiggly line is the water you use throughout the day. On a day when there's no rain and it's dry season, we really don't produce much more wastewater, meaning there's not a lot of leaks into the system. As opposed to maybe getting back 18 million gallons a day from customers, we get back 22 million. That's actually a very good number. That's an industry standard. The problem is we're getting back 37 on average. What the heck's going on? So I love this stuff. I'm going to try to go through it fast. If you were trying to hunt down this giant financial issue for the city and manage a wastewater system, you would want all these pieces of information. You would want meters from the mothership. You'd want them from the city itself. You'd want pump run times, what's going on at a station live, flow rates, a lot of data. We don't get anything. We don't have any of that data. So in the last 6 months or so, I've been extracting data from the county in an attempt before we put in place all these systems to start to understand where the opportunities are. We're going to take a two-phase approach. The mayor, in the last year, has done something great for this department. The department has a lot of built-up needs, particularly on the wastewater side, and he has committed over $40 million in ARPA money. This is where the money's going. The first phase is we're going to go through the entire system, soup to nuts, right? Everything from the wet wells to the pumps to the pipes to the manholes, and figure out where the leaks are. That's going to take some resources. We're going to bring some contracts for you. Phase 2 is really just fixing everything we find. And to that end, the mayor allowed us to hire the man who ran the entire wastewater transmission system for the county. I don't know if you could stand for a second, Oscar Vasquez. This fellow right here is going to have the largest return on investment probably for the city in quite some period of time. He goes around the country speaking on how you track and solve issues with wastewater flows. And that's by far the biggest issue in the department. So we're super pleased to have Oscar. We both love this topic. We work together very closely. Yeah, so it's not right, but we like it. You're going to see an awful lot of contracts come through in the next 2 months that are going to help assess the system and help fix the system. In fact, we have 8 coming to you in October. We'll probably have another 8 in the month after that. We may work with the city attorney if we need to try to speed up the way those contracts are awarded and managed, but we'll come back to that if we need to. This is really almost the opposite of the chart I started with that identified the problem. This is just if we invest the money that the mayor has helped set aside back into the wastewater system, fixing it, we should be able to reduce our flows from around 37 million gallons a day. The goal will be to around 24, 25. That's going to cut 1/3 the cost, which is the equivalent of 17% of the entire, everything that's paid out of the wastewater bill. It'll take 3 to 4 years, but that's the goal.
Kevin, and I'm sorry, just kind of for, just for folks on this board to remember, and we have some new folks as well. Like what's causing in high level, right? What's causing this increase of wastewater? Is it infiltration? Like what's the main cause of this?
So it's exactly that. There's no system in the world, doesn't matter where you are, water or wastewater, there are leaks. It's just managing them. In South Florida, it is a terrible challenge because the groundwater is only 7-8 feet below us, right? So any typical day, 55% of your wastewater pipes are underwater. And when they crack, it never leaks out, right? Water pressure leaks in. So all of that fundamentally is leaks, or we're checking the meters, right? We're dependent on the county's meters. So there could be issues there, but that's really it, leaks into the system.
And so, and then that slide, go back a slide real quick, Melissa. And so this slide is telling me that we've been reducing that.
No, this is a projection. This is, if I'm standing here 3 years from now, you're going to pull up this slide and either yell at me or say, hey, nice job. One of the two. I don't know which. So what this is, it starts with basically we're paying $55-60 million for wastewater per year.
Mm-hmm.
If pretend that price didn't change on a gallon basis, we're going to try to drop that by like $17 million, by nearly 1/3. So it kind of shows the flows being projected down, and it shows the cost being projected down.
And so the way you address this issue is, you mentioned earlier 700 miles of pipes, right?
Right.
So the idea is to fix part of that 700-mile worth of pipes, right?
Right.
How much have we fixed thus far?
So in the last 15 years, about 25 to 30% of the system has been lined.
Hmm.
So there's still 75% of the system that hasn't had too many repairs. Why I showed you that one chart that showed you on a good day where we're not pushing out, because it tells you that on a good day, it's not what we're doing, it's what the South Florida Water Management District is doing. If they bring down the water table, we have very little leaking in, but on an average day, we're getting over 30 million. So as the water level goes from covering 35% of our pipes to 70%, massive jump.
Yeah.
So we know in that area, a lot of issues are sitting.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, moratoria. Oof. Okay. Over the last 15 years, between 1/3 and 1/4 of the city has been in lockdown and moratoria. This is from DERM, the county's environmental regulations that look at wastewater systems. I have a long speech on it. I won't give it to you. I'm working very hard to get rid of all this. That can't be predicted. But in the meantime, I have to play ball with the county and do what the county wants. So right now, if you looked in the system, 26 out of 101 areas of the city, fundamentally 25% of the city is in moratorium. It's in there for various reasons. The largest reasons is that our pumps are running too long. And for some reason, they don't like that. That's really not the biggest issue in the world, but it's a rule. So the good news is, I hope, out of those 26 stations, we've been working this last year to start bringing them into compliance. We're going to ask within the next 6 months that 10 of these be released from moratorium, because we've either lined them, fixed some pumps, made a mechanical improvement, or went back and remeasured, and we're now meeting goal. So that would be a great thing, because the city would not have had any number like 15% out of compliance. It's been much worse than that.
And so how many, I'm sorry, so how many were in moratorium and how many have been fixed?
So the highest I've heard of was about 35, maybe a little over 10 years ago. In the last year, we basically had 26. and we've been working on 10.
Hmm.
Oh, we've been working on more, right? But 10, we think we've met the criteria. And we're in the process of starting to apply to the county to pull them out of moratorium.
Okay. And then just for the sake of everyone understanding, so these 26 pump stations are moratorium. So what does that mean for new businesses?
Right, it's tough. I guess there's two basic types of moratorium. One is like a total moratorium. You can't get a permit and you can't build. The second one is we'll give you a permit. You can keep your design going, but really you can't come online. We're not going to permit the final product. It has absolutely slowed down development in the city. It has slowed it down throughout the county. And in the whole Southeast United States, I'm going to call it a weapon. This weapon has been used to try to control wastewater systems. It's too much of a speech, right? But I'm absolutely opposed to these moratorium because it punishes people who have no relationship to the problem they're trying to solve. And that's on the side, I'm making that large attack. This thing has to end. It just makes no sense. Sorry, next one. So that was a whole wastewater system. On the water side, I know I'm giving it a short end of the stick here. The mayor had a few priorities. One, fix the darn wastewater system. Secondly, try to work with the county on a resolution for the RO plant that makes it more practical and affordable for the city. So we're still working towards that goal. Other things that we're doing on the water side is we're going to put in more of a system to check where leaks are on the water side. As opposed to the wastewater side where we are outside of the norm, on the water side, we're within the norm. There's still opportunity, but it's not that great. We have no water master plan. Typically, this is like the 5th largest utility in Florida for waterway. We should have one. We're waiting for the city to adopt its final master plan. Then we're going to go out and contract and make something that's complementary. So that will be coming before too long. Maybe there's one more slide. Okay, customer service. How many of you have had fewer phone calls in the last 6 months than when I first got here? Well, that's a good thing. About the time I started, Leo Fernandez came in. Leo, she's our customer service rep. You can, if they ask questions, you can come right up.
I can't see her.
Leo, can you stand up, please? Thank you. And Leo's done an amazing job. She comes to us from the airport. We asked her to write up what she had done. There's so many great things. They couldn't even be fit on a slide. So I had to do the terrible thing and just try to compress them. If you have questions, I'd love her to answer. But if you just come to the lobby, right, you're going to get a different experience than you used to get. It's prettier. We upgraded what it looks like. You now have a person who will actually take your money before you have to get in a car and drive around the corner and stand in a line. Again, that came out of the pandemic. I don't know why that's been solved. So we reopened the cashiers, we've remodeled, and we have a greeter. So many people come in, they have a very quick question. They didn't have a way of getting a quick question handled. They'd have to wait in a long line. Now they no longer do. Staffing, we were quite short, so we've added a fair amount of staff. We think we're right-sized, but maybe in 6 months, we'll take another look if we're not at our performance measures. Leo has co-designed a training program just for our customer service reps. So they get training on a quarterly basis. They are doing, you can see it in the data that's coming out of the phone calls, right? That phone call data is starting to improve because the skill levels of our employees are improving. The last thing, we're starting to upgrade our software, making it easier for people to pay online and for us to track and analyze our customer service. But that's my full presentation. If you have any questions.
You know, I think, can you go back to that slide, Melissa? Yeah, I just want to say this is the first time I see Leo. Good to see you. For a quite amount of time, I would always ask, you and her and her team for the call stats.
She's the one
for the water department, and those numbers are really impressive, right? Average time to answer calls decreased by 53%. Average time spent on calls reduced by 14%, and then the abandonment rate lowered by 25%. That's a big deal, and I think it deserves a round of applause, please. And I think And the mayor started saying this when he got here too, when he was first elected, and the chief said it earlier today that 9 times out of 10, you probably forget the topic of conversation that you had at a given moment, but you always remember how you felt, right? And so I think this increase in the quality of customer service, I think it'll go a long way. So thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
So Kevin, yes, when we first got elected, I think every other phone call, Willie would receive phone
Yeah,
calls,
you told me
customer
about that
service.
a couple times.
And thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, there's always opportunity, but I can tell you your staff is out there just the wildest questions. They always get answered. And I can tell you, I don't even think about customer service and water department. I don't have those calls anymore, guys. I don't know if you do or not, but I don't. So thank you. Appreciate
Great,
that.
thank you.
All righty. Moving on to item C. City Clerk.
Mayor Bobo proclaimed September 9th, 2024 as Missing Children's Day in the city of Hialeah.
Mayor?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. There is an uncomfortable national trend. Today we commemorate Missing Children's Day, but a very uncomfortable statistic where this number seems to be going on the rise. And the hope is, and the desire is to create awareness. Some of you may remember you grew up where there was a milk carton with a missing kid's face on that milk carton. And I think when I was younger, I think as young kids, we used to almost joke about it or take it for granted. And this is something that's real in our community. A lot of different reasons perhaps for it, but it's something that's real. And simply Hialeah is joining a nationwide effort by this proclamation, naming this day, and then also creating awareness on missing children.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we need
No, sir.
Okay, perfect. All right, item D.
The Planning and Zoning Department speaks regarding the Hialeah 2050 upcoming open houses.
So next week, we have the open houses for the recommendation report, and we have a pre-packaged presentation that they will show now in the screen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Are we?
Well, okay, we have 3 open houses. The first one is on next Tuesday, September 17, at the Aragon Clubhouse in the annexation area from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. The second workshop is the next day, September 18, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Westland Mall. And the third workshop is here at City Hall on September 19 from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
I'm sorry, could you share with the council the previous events, how the attendance has been to the previous event?
Well, we started this process in September 11 of last year when the master plan group did a workshop, and we attended, I don't know exactly the number that is in our webpage is there, but we try to be present in all of the events by the city, in the Santa Claus events, in the Mailander Park where they had art exhibits. We went to the 4th of July. We did walking audits where we invited some residents. Well, everyone was welcome to come, but many residents came with us. We had 3 workshops, 3 workshops or more? We had 6 workshops where we got input from the different neighborhoods. And we gather all that information and we prepare some recommendations and kind of a plan that you will be able to see in these reports. And we are taking into account not only what will happen with the zoning, but also we are talking about transportation, about green areas, about riding bikes. So there's a lot of stuff that we will present at these workshops.
And council, this work really is your guide map for what the future of the city. And the hope here is not just taking inputs by residents, but this is also a great opportunity for you to interact with them, kind of listen to what's going on, but also share some of your ideas. There are going to be pressure points in the city of Hialeah that I think we need to just be mindful of. People are going to continue to come to Miami-Dade County. Okay, that's just the history of, and when things happen in Central and South America, South Florida is the recipient of it. The city is going to continue to have people. That is going to put pressure on development. That is going to put pressure on how we handle transportation. And we're working very closely with the TPO, and hopefully we'll have some stuff to share in the near future on this front. But understand that this also, Kevin already talked about a water plan in the future that needs to probably be evolved and should be evolved. But it also probably is going to affect services of the city, our park programming. How do we prevent and fire service these buildings when they start going more and more vertical? What kind of investment? Obviously these buildings require sprinkler systems, but you still need to have the equipment and the ability to serve those. And the same thing with with fire. Police. How does your police department of the future look like? Does it involve cameras, technology to help supplement what the men and women are doing? So it's broad, but it all starts with a master plan of what the city may look like. All of you will be, participants in setting a foundation, and maybe in different capacities in the future, to all be involved in some way or another. So this is extremely important because the city hasn't done this in a long, long time, and lack of planning gets you into situations that then you're playing catch up with, right? And we see it all the time. So this is, I think, a document that will help us avoid headaches long term.
Yeah, long term, but also short term. We are already learning many things and we are addressing them. So it's useful from day one. It has been useful from day one.
Perfect. Thank
Through
you,
the chair.
Deborah. Yes, ma'am.
Deborah, I have a question. How has the attendance been with the residents during the open?
Well, to be honest with you, the northern area, like the annexation area, that is the one that participated the most. In the other ones, we had attendance, we had participants, but not as many. And these areas, because since that area is kind of secluded from the city, they feel that they are really a community. But what we try to do, we identify the neighbors, the neighborhoods in relation to the parks where people go. So all the workshops, we conducted them at the park, so the people around came.
Okay.
So
And how do we advertise it for?
we have a website.
Okay,
And also through the
Social
through the
media.
social
I've seen
media,
it, yeah.
Instagram, we put it in the elevator, we have it in the lobby in the second floor where all the public comes, we have it in the libraries.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No one.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Okay, announcements of amendments and corrections to the agenda.
In accordance with section 376.80 of the Florida statutes, today we will hold the second public hearing for adoption of a proposed resolution as provided for in Administrative Item 11A to create a new Florida brownfield area at the property located at 16300 Northwest 97th Avenue, Hialeah, Florida, 33018. The property owner requested this designation in order to address environmental contamination caused by the property's historical uses, which will allow the property owner to access environmental cleanup incentives provided by the state at no cost to the city. Administrative Item 11B is postponed until the City Council meeting of September 24th, 2024, and Consent Item 10AA has been added to today's agenda.
All right, board appointments?
None, sir.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda. Any items?
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Item
Oh.
H.
H? Let the record reflect, Councilman Calvo. Yes, sir.
If I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Item Z,
D?
Z as in zebra.
Z as in zebra. Got it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pull double A. Anyone else? Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by the Vice President,
Second.
second by Perez.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robles.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Mr. Calvo.
Yes.
Motion carries. The consent agenda has passed except items H, Z, and double A.
All right, item H, please.
Proposed resolution accepting and authorizing the appropriation of additional emergency rent assistance funds awarded to the city by the U.S. Department of Treasury for $946,758.72 for the provision of rent and utility services to eligible residents and ensuring administrative compliance in the expenditure of these funds. Further authorizing the mayor, his designee, to submit all required reports to the U.S. Department of Treasury as programmatically required, and authorizing a supplemental appropriation pursuant to Hialeah, Florida Charter Section 3.08 subsection E1 in aforementioned amounts to Emergency Rental Assistance Program budget, providing for an effective date.
Councilman Calvo.
Thank you. And good evening. It sounds like we have good news. It's almost $1 million more that we'll have for this emergency rent assistance program. Looks like the 4 million initial allocation, we've used up more than the 75%. So we've definitely provided relief to a lot of residents in Hialeah. The information is short here. I wondered if you could give us kind of an overview of the money, first of all, that we've spent, and then, you know, what you foresee moving forward in ERA-2. And I also saw something about a potential for a third funding of this program.
Daniela Tamayo with the Grants and Human Services Department, 501 Palm Avenue. Yes, so the $900,000 is the last amount we're gonna get. We had to do it in tranches, so the first tranche we got was half of that, which is what we received already. Then after we spend 75% of that, we can request the other 400,000 or so.
Okay.
What we've seen is a lot of rent increases, so we've had a lot of, majority of our applications have been for people that have had rent increases. So we still have people that are unemployed, people that are falling behind on their rent because either somebody moves out or they're just having trouble because, again, everything is so expensive.
And so, and just for clarification, obviously, just because your rent increases doesn't mean you qualify for the program, right? There has to be some other factors that are
Correct.
taken into consideration, which
Correct.
are like what?
So the low income, they have to be less than 80% AMI.
Okay. Which
Somebody,
tangibly for our community is what?
depending on the household size, but for like one person, I would say maybe like 40,000. I don't know it off the top
Right.
of my head, but
Ballpark.
around there.
Okay.
So if they have to be less than that, they have to earn, less than that. So we've had a lot of families, seniors, who've seen a lot of increases in their rent.
Right. Is there like a specific increase that meets the threshold, or could you apply, you know, hey, my rent went up $100?
Anything, as long as you can show that you're having trouble paying your rent, we are able to assist you. And how do you show that you're having trouble? Your income has decreased, or now you have more expenses, or you don't make enough to pay the $100. You were already struggling, so the $100 is making it even more difficult.
Right. And the typical applicant, I mean, how long are we able to help them for? Is it 3 months, 6 months?
So the program allows for a total of 18 months, but we do it right now on a 3-month period, like
On a 3-month
batch, and then we reapply again and see if they still need the assistance.
Okay. And do most people qualify after the 3 months, or they kind of?
Yeah, if they're still unemployed, if they're still struggling to pay the rent, we continue to assist them.
Okay. And I understand you might not have this right now, but do you have an idea of, you know, how many families we've been able to help with this program?
I would say like around 350
350.
since September of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there like a high level of rejection in the program? Do you have a lot of applicants that don't meet the criteria?
No, not really. We've
Okay.
always had people that maybe make too much, and then we unfortunately have to deny them, but not that many in comparison to all the applicants that we received.
So these additional funds that we'll be getting, how long do you foresee this lasting us? Will it be another year and
No.
less?
Less. At the rate that we're going, probably like maybe by the end of the year, or maybe another 6 months.
Okay, so and then you're forecasting that once we get these funds, there's not going to be anything additional.
For ERAP, no, but we're looking at other programs for rent assistance.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you so much. Motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Calvo.
Second.
We have a second by
Thank
the
you.
Vice President. Call the roll.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Okay, item Z.
Proposed resolution of the mayor and the city council expressing its full and unequivocal support for observing and honoring Patriot Day and declaring September 11th, 2024 as the National Day of Service and Remembrance, noting instructions to city administration and Veterans Board, providing for transmittal of the resolution by the city clerk, and providing for an effective date.
Councilwoman Perez.
So I just wanted to thank the mayor and all the council members for continuing to keep this day alive, this day in our memories, and reminding us that we're all patriots from standing up for our country. We had people that were firefighters, police officers, flight crew members, passengers that were on those flights. And we can't forget what they stood for and what they suffered. And I think it's amazing that so many years have passed, but it's still something that's very raw in all of our minds. I think we can all reflect and remember where we all were that day when we received that news. And I know that not many people might know this part of the story, but these terrorists, some of them that were on those flights, were here in Hialeah. They shopped here in Hialeah. They were at my parents' business. They trained at Opa-locka Airport. I met some of these terrorists, my parents, and all of us in our own way are patriots that day. All of us did our part in having part of this national history that's ingrained in all of us. And the way that we continue to keep that memory alive is by doing these small acts every year and talking about it with our children, and reminding us, what it is to be American and the true roots to our country's history. So I thank the mayor and I think that this is a beautiful way for our Veterans Board to get involved. And in the coming, years, when this day comes forward, for them to place these flags in our entranceways, to serve as a subtle reminder and to have those open conversations, maybe when you're driving with your kids in the car and having those conversations, hey, what was this day? And remembering those lives that were lost, because it was 2,995 people that we lost that day. And to keep their memory alive is out of respect, and it's our duty as Americans. So I just want to say thank you to them, thank you to their families, and to all that we've lost, even those firefighters that were there after, that we know that got very ill and sick for working at those towers. So just to keep their memory alive. So thank you, Mayor. I have something, maybe Melissa could help me. Just some pins to pass out if you guys would like to wear it tomorrow. If I could have a motion of support for the item.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by the Vice President and we have a second by Councilman De La Vega.
No, the council members and everyone here have it. It's for the audience. Melissa, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
And members, tomorrow at 10 o'clock in Station 1, there will be a ceremony there to to remember the 9/11, and you're all invited to participate, and it gives us an opportunity to honor our men and women of the fire and police department.
Thank you. Item AA.
Oh, sorry.
But are you for this, for double A? Yeah. Yeah.
Proposed resolution authorizing an intergovernmental transfer in an amount not to exceed $647,878.48 as the city's share of the funding requirements to the state of Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration as part of the city's participation in the Public Emergency Medical Transportation Program for supplemental Medicaid reimbursements, approving and authorizing the execution of a letter of agreement between the State of Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration and the City of Hialeah, attached as Exhibit 1 for a period beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024, authorizing the mayor, his designee, to execute all required agreements and documents to participate in the intergovernmental transfers and supplemental payment program for Medicaid managed care patients, providing for transmittal of this resolution by the city clerk and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Chief, just for my knowledge, what is the Public Emergency Medical Transportation Program?
Our Chief Willie Guerra, Green District. So it's a revenue share that started about 7 years ago.
I'm sorry. It's a revenue share program that I think started roughly about 8 years ago, where there's a certain amount. If you have Medicare and you fall into certain criterias, we get reimbursed for a certain amount. So we got to put a certain amount of money out. Like this is a reallocation that happened toward the end of the year because they received more money. So we had to pay a little more to receive more, right? So I'm throwing a number out. If I put out 100,000, then I'm going to get $200,000 back. So you're buying into the program. Well, you're paying into the program every year, and then you're getting it doubled at the end of the year.
So it's always an increase. What we receive
Yeah,
is
we
always an increase.
no, we always receive an increase.
Okay, and it's based off of the number of Medicaid lives that we have in
No.
Hialeah?
So we get a number of transports. So we get a number of transports. There's every department in the state of Florida that most departments do it. So that number is divided by, and I don't have the exact formula, divided by the money coming in, and they create an allocation dependent on that. With your type of state, how many stations, how many units, how many people.
Okay.
But I can't give you the exact formula. I'm actually meeting with somebody this week to go over exactly.
Okay, and this is money that's coming in or going out?
Oh, money 647 coming out, 1.5 coming in.
Got it. When do we get the 1.5?
We should get it in about 2 months.
Okay. All right.
If you look at the term, right? So the term was from 23 to 23, 24. But once they get to the ending, they reallocated because of the influx of money. So
Okay.
this is the year that just passed.
All right. All right. Maybe tomorrow or something we can get together. I'd like to understand that formula. a little
Okay.
better. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
A motion by the Vice President.
Second.
We have a second by De La Vega.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Tonidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robles.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
All right. Moving on to administrative items, 11A.
Proposed resolution designating the property located at 16300 Northwest 97th Avenue, Hialeah, Florida, 33018, and identified by folio number 042017001070, and legally described herein as a brownfield area pursuant to section 376.80 subsection 2C of the Florida statutes for the purpose of rehabilitation, job creation, and promoting economic redevelopment, authorizing the city of Hialeah to notify the Florida Department of Environmental Protection of said designation and providing for an effective date.
All right.
Mr. Chair, if I may, we have the applicant's counsel here from the Goldstein Environmental Law Firm. They're going to make a presentation to the council about this matter.
Perfect. Do we have to open this up to public comments as well? City Attorney?
You had public comments
In the first.
in the first one.
Got it.
So
Thank you. Sir, name and address?
Rookie mistake. My name is Michael Goldstein. I'm with the Goldstein Environmental Law Firm at 2100 Ponce de Leon Boulevard. in Coral Gables. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, council members, Mr. City Attorney, Madam Clerk, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to our application. I'm here representing the applicant WGC 97th Property LLC. Our client is developing an old agricultural site that has some serious environmental challenges located at 16300 Northwest 97th Avenue in the great city of Hialeah. We're here today to pursue approval by this council of a request to designate the site a brownfield area under the Florida Brownfields Redevelopment Act. The purpose of the statute is to provide for incentives, limited incentives that come through the state at no cost to the city, at no risk of exposure to liability to the city, to encourage developers to invest private capital in risky sites and continue to move forward, as opposed to looking for clean sites, which only promotes urban sprawl. We're here to take advantage of this program, which many other municipalities have in Miami-Dade County, over 16 towns, cities, and villages in Miami-Dade County, as well as the county itself, have pursued and approved brownfield designations going back to 1997. We have over 20,000 acres of designated brownfields in Miami-Dade County, generating a tremendous amount of economic activity. Under the statute, we're required to demonstrate we meet 5 objective criteria. And then under the statute, if we have successfully made that demonstration, the council by statute is required to approve the designation. Of course, the council members are absolutely have all of the discretion and right to determine whether or not we've made that appropriate showing. Respectfully submitted, we believe that we have. This is the second of 2 public hearings required by statute. The hour is growing late, so I'm going to go through these criterion very quickly. And of course, I'll be happy to answer any questions that the council may have. The first of the 5 criteria are that we own and or control the subject property, and we've agreed to clean it up and redevelop it. Yes, we've checked all of those boxes. We own it, we're developing it, and we've committed to cleanup. The second criteria is that the project will generate economic productivity and create at least 5 jobs not associated with redevelopment or cleanup. This is a 171,000 square foot warehouse building that we are going to put up with up to 55 truck docks and 141 spaces. We are going to generate millions of dollars in tax revenues, hundreds of jobs. And of course, the construction itself is having an economic ripple effect in the city as development proceeds. The applicant is spending over $27.5 million to construct the project, which involves 171 permanent full-time equivalent jobs. The third of the 5 criteria is that the project is consistent with a local comprehensive plan and a permittable use under the local land development regulations. This project is in the business development zoning district that has a future land use designation of industrial. The BDH and industrial designation allow for warehouse development, so we meet this criteria. The 4th criteria is that we provide adequate notice and comment. Under the statute, we have met all of the criteria. And the 5th criterion is that we demonstrate we have the reasonable financial assurances to complete the project. This project at $27.5 million is fully funded. We've provided a letter, it should be in your materials, certifying that we have sufficient funds on hand for the project and to complete the cleanup. Construction is underway and we're about to go vertical. We believe that the project will be complete and open by June of next year. And I am happy to entertain any questions that the council may have.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Do we have any comments, any questions? Do we have a motion?
I have a question, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to know, I'm trying to look here at the plan design, but what is going to be built here?
We're going to build a 171,000 square foot warehouse for commercial and industrial tenants. And we're also going to have significant parking for some major trucks, 55 truck docks. So I imagine that at the very least, we're going to have logistics and distribution and that sort of industrial tenant.
Thank you.
All right, so we had a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez. Do we have a second? We have a second by the Vice President. Please call the roll.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Goldstein. All right. And we're done with the city attorney with this item?
Well, the city is done. They're not done. They have to
Yeah.
do a series, undertake a series of agreements and Durham, but yeah, the city. Did you want to add anything else, Mr. Goldstein, as to what?
The cleanup is well underway. We have to commit to complete the cleanup. That's part of the Brownfields program. It's a quid pro quo. If we don't follow through, we fall into enforcement. We lose all of the incentives that this designation makes available.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, item B is postponed until September 24th. Do we have any unfinished business? Do we have any new business?
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just a couple things. I'm sure my colleagues are following what's happening with today, Miami-Dade County had their meeting regarding the incinerator plant. There's been a new site that has been proposed by a developer in our community that is somewhat in the relative vicinity of the city of Hialeah, specifically in the annex area. This was a new site. And well, judging by the participation in today's meeting, you had very vocal opponents to the Doral site, to the Medley site, but we didn't have any representation from Hialeah. And so my fear is, and maybe the council shares this fear, is that potentially this is the site that gets picked in the end, and we're going to have this incinerator plant in our backyard. The mayor of Hialeah Gardens, who's obviously a little bit more west than us and really abuts that property, has already made a comment against the proposed site. So I just wanted to see, the position of the administration and my colleagues, and maybe there's something that we could be doing in the meantime before a site is ultimately picked. I believe where the conversation was left up today at the county was that they were going to sort of continue studying these sites, obviously taking into consideration this fourth site that was recently proposed.
So my advice to the city council, for what it's worth, is to, for now, continue to monitor this situation. Looking at this, new proposed site and distance, quite honestly, this site is about the same distance of the current site. And the other two proposed sites, I think, move it a lot closer. But my advice would be we monitor it. I know how the county operates, a little deliberate. I don't think they're gonna make a decision right away. And allow us to analyze. And Mr. Attorney, just a question. Is there provisions in our charter that the council can meet with the mayor in like an executive session that is for the purpose of that is not open to the sunshine?
That's only in shade meetings and litigation, collective bargaining. But you could hold a workshop, but yeah, no, that is notice. Of course, Mayor, since you are an executive, each council member, you may meet with each council member individually, but as a body, I am not aware of any exemption that would cover that, because there's no dispute right now about this that would take. You follow?
Okay. Yes, very well. All right. So my as much as I would love to speak more, I don't think it's something that to speak in public. I would be more than happy to meet with each and every one of you individually. But my advice for now is to monitor and to watch carefully and see how this thing kind of develops. And then at the opportune time, we can make our opinions known on this subject. But I think right now it's premature. And just if we just monitor it, there'll be a moment for us to act.
Thank you. And so the second point, totally a different topic. Obviously, I think many of us, I know the mayor has been following this issue that we have with Palmetto Hospital and also Hialeah Hospital. I think Councilmember Tundador even sits on the board, or maybe you sat on the board at some point. My concern is that I was notified and I found out that basically that whole thing with the company that owns the two hospitals has been progressively getting worse and worse. And the latest is that the landowner, which is a management company, potentially is going to be in a position where they're going to have to take over the operation of these hospitals, even though they're not really equipped to do so, because of a mediation whereby the company that owns the two hospitals will be gifting basically the hospitals over to the landowner. This situation obviously is of much concern to our community. I know that's something that we talked about, some months ago already when this first story came out. However, obviously the situation seems to be moving in the wrong direction. From what I understand, the landowner is in the position right now where they're trying to find a buyer for the hospitals in order to not have to take over and do that process. So the extent that we can, I think we should continue to have a careful eye on this situation. And I don't know if there's been any communications that perhaps you can share at this time, or what should we expect in the coming weeks? I believe that this is something that was going to happen in the month of September, early September, and that's why I wanted to bring it up during today's meeting.
Sure. Councilman, I had a board meeting yesterday for Hialeah Hospital, and thank you for bringing this up. So it's important to note that all hospitals in Hialeah for sure, but the 5 that tenants sold are open. Hialeah Hospital, Palmetto Hospital, they're open. We've seen a slight dip in ER visits in Hialeah because folks think, right, that the hospital's not working or that it's closed down. So it's important to note that those hospitals are functioning to its full capacity. At this moment, there were, and again, not to say too much because the board had suggested to hold off on a couple of things, but there were 2 bidders that submitted for the businesses. What's going to be up for a transition is the business itself, but not the land. And so I believe a bidder was already chosen. However, they're going to be making an official announcement, I think probably in the next 2 weeks. The current landowner is taking over operations, but they want to move on it quick because it's going to cost them about $30 million a month to just keep the lights on. So it's in their best interest to move fast on this transaction. So within the next couple of maybe 1 to 2 weeks, we should have an official owner or a new owner of the actual business.
Do you know, and sorry to pry if you can't say, but do you know if this bidder is to the purchase of both hospitals or just the Hialeah Hospital?
All 5.
All 5.
Mhm.
Okay.
All 5 stewards.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for me.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else? No? All right. Thank you all. Have a good night. Moving on to land use.
Aren't we gonna sing happy birthday to Hialeah?
Oh, today is Hialeah's birthday. That's right.
I
Monica,
didn't know
please
that.
lead us.
Well, Monica, you lead us.
Are we ready? Okay, ready?
Go.
Happy birthday to
you. Happy birthday to
us.
Happy birthday, Hialeah. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Councilwoman. All right.
99 never looked so good, huh?
99. All right, moving on to land use.
Will all those persons who will be testifying on an item, please stand and raise your right hand.
Las personas que quisieran prestar sus opiniones delante de esta junta, por favor, pónganse de pie y alcen la mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. If so, say I do.
¿Usted jura o afirma que el testimonio que va a dar será la verdad, toda la verdad y únicamente la verdad y que Dios sea su testigo? Por favor, diga que sí si la respuesta es afirmativa.
Let the record reflect that all have responded in the affirmative.
En el archivo público constará que todos han respondido afirmativamente.
All righty. Let's go to item A.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from residential office to commercial, Properties located at 1420 West 68th Street and 1480 West 68th Street, residential office district and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is a second reading. Do we have any public comments online
No, sir.
in the chamber? All right, do you have any council discussion?
A motion.
All right, we have a motion by Zogby and a second by Rodriguez. Call roll.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Item 15B, first reading of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from low-density residential to transit-oriented development district. Property located at 942 East 28th Street, Hialeah, zoned R1, one-family district, and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item is in first reading, not open for public comments. Sir?
Good evening, Mr. President, council members, Carlos Diaz with office at 333 Southeast Second Avenue, here on behalf of the applicant. We have a brief presentation to show you. This is a pretty simple application. It's one of those where we did a TOD project that included the entire block except one lot. So we're here for the last piece of the puzzle for this one project, which we're calling Urbania Hialeah now. And so you can see in the zoning map here when it comes up now. This is between East 9th Avenue and East 10th Avenue and 27th Street and 28th Street. If you can go to the next slide. Yeah, you can see here, it's that portion in green of the property. Everything that's white around it is already zoned TOD. We're just taking this small lot, included into the TOD and making some modifications to the project to include this land. This has allowed us actually to make the project even better. Now we have more open space. It's more, it's a better, more cohesive streetscape now. So we have two applications. This is the land use amendment. We have the rezoning later in the agenda. So I can walk you through the plans now, or we can do that in the zoning item.
Motion. We have a motion by Zogby and a second by Rodriguez. Please call the roll.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for September 24th, 2024.
Thank you all.
All right. Item C.
First reading of proposed ordinance amending the future land use map from low-density residential to high-density residential, property located at 533 East 22nd Street, Hialeah, zoned R1, one-family district, and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, providing for an effective date.
All right, this item is in first reading, so not open for public comments. Sir, name and
Yes,
address.
good evening. Alex O'Neill. I'm represent 533 East 22nd Street. So basically it's rezoning the property. Was a fourplex, burned to the ground, and now we're trying to do a fourplex again.
Okay, you're gonna do the fourplex again? Yeah.
Motion.
All right. So we have a real quick, just, and then when did, I remember this fire, was it just one, your property that burned down or was?
No, I buy the land.
You're right, but was it just that property? that
No,
burned
and the
down?
next
And
one.
the next one too, right? Okay, and then do you own the other piece of land?
I wish, but no.
No, okay, all right, sounds good. So we have a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez.
Second.
We have a second by the Vice President.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor.
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Mr. Calvo.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for September 24th, 2024.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to zoning, item A.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance rezoning property from R3 Multiple Family District to C3 Extended Liberal Commercial District. Property located at the southeast corner of West 72nd Street and West 12th Avenue, folio number 042025 0150140, Hialeah, zoned R3 Multiple Family District and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All right, this item is in second reading. Do we have any public comments?
Motion.
Anyone online?
No, sir.
No? All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Zogby.
Second.
We have a second by the Vice President.
Ms. Garcia Robles?
Yes.
Ms. Perez? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tonidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
All right,
you.
item B has been withdrawn by the applicant. So moving on to item C.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting a variance permit to allow residential use only where mixed use is required. Allow residential use on the ground floor where residential use is only allowed above the ground floor. Allow 24 units with an area less than 850 square feet, where 850 square feet is the minimum required, and only 10% of the units may have an area of 600 square feet. Allow a site area of 17,861 square feet with a street frontage of 180.20 feet, where a minimum site area of 20,000 square feet and a minimum street frontage of 200 feet are required. Allow a front setback of 5 feet, 1 inch fronting east 6th Avenue, where 10 feet built to line are required. Allow surface parking facing east 6th Avenue, where surface parking shall not be located at the front of the building. Allow 25 parking spaces where 54 parking spaces are required. And allow 22% pervious area where 30% pervious area is the minimum required. In contrast to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, sections 98-1630.1, 98-1630.2, 98-1630-3 subsections C and D, 98-1630.8, 98-1630.3, subsection E1, 98-1630.3, subsection E4, 98-2189, subsection 16A, 98-2189, subsection 16B, and 98-2232. Property located at 595 East 9th Street, Hialeah, Zone C2, Liberal Retail Commercial District, and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All right, this item's in second reading. Do we have any public comments online or
No,
in the
sir.
chamber? None. Do we have any council discussion on this item?
Motion.
We have a motion by the Vice President. We have a second by Rodriguez. Call the roll.
Ms. Perez? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tonidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega? Ms. Garcia Robles?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
All right, item D.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance granting a special use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-161, to allow the expansion of the neighborhood business district overlay. Granting a variance permit to allow residential use only where mixed use is required, and allow residential use on the ground floor where residential use is only allowed above the ground floor. Allow 24 units with an area less than 850 square feet, where 850 square feet is a minimum required, and only 10% of the units may have an area of 600 square feet. Allow a site area of 17,148 square feet with a street frontage of 109.16 feet, where a minimum site area of 20,000 square feet and a minimum street frontage of 200 feet are required, granting a variance to waive the building mass and building frontage development standards. Allow a front setback of 4 feet, 8 inches, fronting East 21st Street where 10 feet built to line are required. Allow a rear setback of 4 inches where 15 feet are required. Allow surface parking facing East 21st Street where surface parking shall not be located at the front of the building. Allow 31 parking spaces where 54 parking spaces are required, and allow 15.3% pervious area where 30% pervious area is required. In contrast to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, sections 98-1630.1, 98-1630.2, 98-1630-3 subsection C and D, 98-1630.8, 98-1630.3 subsection E1, 98-1630.3 subsection E2, 98-1630.3 subsection E4, 98-2189 subsection 16A, and 98-2232, property located at 701 East 21st Street, Hialeah, zoned R32, multiple family district, and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, this item's in second reading. Do we have any public comments in the chamber or online?
No, sir.
Do we have any council discussion?
Motion.
We have a motion by the Vice President and a second by Zogby. Call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega? Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Item E.
Love the soup, man.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance approving a final plat of Verdot, accepting all dedication of avenues, streets, roads, or other public ways, together with all existing and future planting of trees, shrubbery, and fire hydrants. Property located at 4300 West 12th Avenue, Hialeah, Florida, and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All right, this item is a second reading. Do we have any public comments?
No, sir.
All right, any council discussion?
Motion.
We have a motion by Rodriguez, second by Vice President.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega? Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez? Motion carries. The item is approved.
All righty, item F.
Second reading and public hearing of proposed ordinance approving the final plat of Emerald Bay, accepting all dedication of avenues, streets, roads, or other public ways, together with all existing and future planting of trees, shrubbery, and fire hydrants. Property located at 4030 West 88th Street, Hialeah, Florida, and legally described in Exhibit A. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All right, second reading. Do you have any public comments online?
No,
Through the
sir.
chair.
Nothing in the chamber? Yes, sir, Mr. Calvo.
I just had a quick question for Deborah, on this. Are they in final phase? What phase are they in right now? Do you know?
I think they divided the project in two phases
phases?
because they have two Emerald Bays, Emerald Bay East and Emerald
Okay.
Bay West. West, they haven't started, and
Okay.
Emerald Bay East,
East.
they did it in two phases. One
Okay.
phase is completed, the other one, I think they are reevaluating some things because they have some townhomes and maybe they want to build units, but it hasn't come to me yet. I just heard that they are like thinking what to do.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't renting too
Yeah.
much. But so out of because I remember we had approved something like 600 units, something like that.
Yes.
You know how much they built at this point, like what's in the final plat?
No, I will have to, the final plat is just for the subdivision of the
Yeah.
land, because it was divided by meets and bounds, so even if they never complete it,
Mm.
they need to finish the final plat. And then the number of units, I will have to check and see which are the temporary COs that they got for how many units.
Okay.
You know, you think you know?
No, but I can. Good afternoon, Cesar Mestre with the law office is 8105 Northwest 155th Street. I was involved in the rezoning and the conditional use permit there.
Yeah.
It was approved for 900 and something units.
Oh, wow.
There was 3 phases. The ones that they've built, my understanding is that the leasing is going very well,
Okay.
but there's been a restructuring of the company. So there was 2 lots together and one that was apart, and there's some property in between. So I think the one that's apart is not going to be developed for now,
Okay.
is my understanding. The
Okay.
one that's further west.
Got it,
Yeah.
got it. All right, thank you so much. Motion.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Calvo, is there a motion?
Motion, yep.
Motion by Mr. Calvo.
Second.
We have a second by Zogby. Okay.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved.
All right, item G.
I've been informed by the administration that item G is postponed until September 24th, 2024.
At what time?
5:30 PM.
We start at different times, is that? Are we starting at a different time that day? All right. All right, so G's postponed. All right, item
Supposed
H.
to announce a date.
Got it. All right.
Item H.
Item H. Oh, no, sorry.
First reading of proposed ordinance rezoning property from R1 One Family District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District, property located at 942 East 28th Street, Hialeah, zoned R1 One Family District and legally described herein, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All right, this item's a first reading, not open for public comments. We heard it in land use. Do you have any additional council comments?
Motion.
We have a motion by the Vice President, second by Zogby. Please call the roll.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes.
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for September 24th, 2024,
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. At what time, City Clerk?
5:30 PM.
Okay, thank you. All right, item I.
First reading of proposed ordinance granting a conditional use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-181, to allow a K through second grade school with a maximum capacity of 15 students in conjunction with a 70 children daycare, property located at 2150 West 76th Street, Unit 101, Hialeah, zoned M1 Industrial District, and legally described herein, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All right, this item is in first reading, not open for public comments. Do we have the applicant here today? Jacqueline Blanco?
I'm here.
Is it Steps? Your name Steps?
Yes, it is a steps.
Hey, Ms. Blanco, how are
Hi.
you?
Very good, thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there.
No worries. You want to tell us a little bit about this school?
Yes, the purpose of this is to continue providing education to kids that are
Oh, and I'm sorry, Ms. Steps. Can you please name an address for the record, please? Just name.
Sorry,
Yeah.
yes, my name is Jacqueline Blanco, and the center is Steps for Learning Preschool Center located in 2150 West 76th Street, Unit 101 in Hialeah.
Perfect. Okay, you may continue.
And yes, as I was telling you before, the purpose is to continue providing education to students that are there in the school that have siblings, especially the ones that are 3 or 4 years old, so they have siblings going to kindergarten grade or 5 years old. And as a request is to maintain this objective with the students.
Okay, and how many students you have? You have a daycare right now, no?
Yes, it is
A
a
little bit of both.
daycare.
Yeah.
We've been there for 15 years. So right now we don't go over 80 kids in their total enrollment. So partially we're trying to have either these students requesting for school age and along with the other ones with the pre-K or not exceeding the maximum capacity.
And so you've been operating as a K through second grade already? You've been doing that for how long?
Yes, for 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Got it. Understood. And you're familiar with the conditions that the planner had recommended?
No,
Maybe Deborah could come over here and just explain the conditions. I'm going to make sure that you're okay with it.
Please give your name and title and address.
Deborah Storch, Planning and Zoning Director. We read this at the last meeting, with the Department of Children and Family. They have been operating on the site since 2023. As you know, the Department of Children and Family, they give them an umbrella number, but they don't go into the detail of how many students fits in each of the classrooms. So we went and we did the exercise, and they can fit there 15 students for a maximum of 85 students. That will be 15 students in the K through first grade, because in her letter of intent, she explained that now she has K and first grade. And the intent of the thing that we did to allow the schools that were already operating was not to expand, but to allow them to keep what they have. So it will be a K to first grade with 15 students in conjunction with a daycare capacity of 70 students.
Okay, Ms. Blanco, you understand that it's a K through first grade that the planner had recommended, and you're not going to go above that?
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Okay.
All right, any other council discussion?
Motion.
We have a motion by the Vice President. Second. We have a second by Zogby. Please call the roll.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes,
Yes.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Tumnus,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved subject to the planner's recommendations. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for September 24th, 2024.
Got it. Item J, please.
First reading of proposed ordinance granting a special use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-161, to allow a mural outside the artist live work overlay district, in contrast to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-1630.21, subsection E. Property located at 1599 West 49th Street, Hialeah, Zone C2, Liberal Retail Commercial District, and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Righty, so this item's in first reading. So not open for public comments. Are you Adrian?
Yeah.
Oh, name and address, please,
Yeah.
sir. Let us know
Yeah.
what's going on.
So yeah, Adrian Gonzalez, and address property is 1599 West 49th Street, Hialeah Zone, and my wife Christine.
Yeah, I'm Christina Oliveira. I'm his wife and also work on the same project.
So what's going on?
So we're gonna be collaborating with Verizon to paint a mural, one of their storefronts. This is an initiative to kind of enhance the arts culture. So it started in Wynwood. We painted a mural for them, and then we went to Coconut Grove and also painted another mural. And they had their sites on the Hialeah storefront. So we're working in conjunction with them to, bring the arts and culture to life.
Hello. Yeah, so basically Verizon is doing a local initiative. Oh, Christina Oliveira, and it's 1599 West 49th Street, Hialeah. So basically Verizon wanted to do a local initiative to support local artists and also to create murals that reflect the cities that they're in. We started with Midtown, and then we went to Coconut Grove, and now we want to do a mural for Hialeah. The mural is not a branded mural where it says Verizon or anything like that. It's really about the community. When they reached out to us about this mural, we wanted to go with the theme of La Ciudad que Progresa, because that's what Hialeah is.
Yeah.
And we created a design that reflects two different generations sharing knowledge with one another. One is sharing the culture and the wisdom of family values, and the other one is showing them how to progress with technology and the modern world, while reflecting, really awesome Hialeah culture and Latin culture and stuff.
Yeah, no, it sounds very exciting. That's a very visible intersection, right? So do you have like a draft or something that we could look at, or?
Yes.
It's in the backup? Is it in the backup?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at it now.
All right, let me see. No me grite, pero let me see.
I would love to see that.
Item
J.
J.
The last hearing, everyone had it.
The
so
last
it's
one
already-
here, let me see. ¿Dónde voy aquí? Nada, chica. All right. No, nada. We don't have it. Let me see that.
Can make it part of the record if you don't have it.
Can we make it part of the record? How do you make it part of the record?
We have the scan.
We'd like to introduce this into the record, you know, and have it, have by the clerk, have it.
Oh, it's part of the plans that were given to you in your packet.
Okay, so then though some numbers are saying they don't have it, you're saying it is part of the record.
Yeah.
It is, it's just not electronic,
All
so
right,
it's
thank
in
you.
their physical packets.
The electronic. So it's clear, you know.
Let me see that, Deborah. Let me see. Okay, perfect. Who, Adrian, who are these guys?
It's the, oh man, I'm sorry, the grandfather, kind of like, you know, teaching him like heritage through technology and progression. And, you know, the colors obviously represent, you know, highly culture and stuff like that. We also included the cafecito. Something
dominoes.
simple, easy on the eyes, nothing too distracting, because we know
Yeah.
it's a high traffic area and stuff.
Yeah, and Deborah was good with this? Okay. Yeah, I'm still watching it. Wow, that's great. And I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. And this is by the Krispy Kreme, right?
Yes.
Okay. Deborah, so just out of curiosity, so what if tomorrow, like Krispy Kreme wants to do a donut or something on a mural? Like, how do we, right?
Like through special use permit. We have an area
Okay.
like the art district where we allow it, but in the rest of the city, they come through a special use permit. So we evaluate the type of art that they are proposing.
Okay, perfect. All right. So
If I may, through the chair.
one sec, Adrian, what do you have an Instagram handle?
Yes, it's Roxol, ROC SOL Miami, Roxol Miami.
Okay.
Rock
And-
Soul, like this.
Yeah,
Like a soul.
like soul, yeah, Roxol. And then our business is a Project Roadmap. That's our mural business.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Councilwoman, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, is it facing 49th Street or is it facing
16?
16? It's facing 16. Okay.
Hey, city attorney, you were gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, Alex McGristle mentioned to me, and it is true because I remember this coming up in Wynwood bid. So under federal law, the artistic rights, would you be willing to offer a covenant or some other signed statement to the city that you will relinquish artistic rights to this?
Yeah, I think that was that's fine.
Yes, technically
Okay.
the artwork belongs to Verizon once we submit it.
All right,
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So you would be willing to firm that in a document that will be prepared by law and sent to you? And,
Yeah.
also the condition that, I know you're here as an artist on behalf of Verizon, but just really the simple condition that once Verizon leaves, the city could request the owner maybe will, maybe won't, but could request that the owner remove it.
That's
Is that acceptable as well?
Yeah, we
Okay.
understood the conditions last time. The last meeting, it was approved without conditions. But we.
Right, but that's why that's sort of think of it, that board is certainly inferior to this council. So whatever that board did this council can still request those things, if that's the will of the council.
Yeah, we understand. And Verizon understood it too when we brought it up to them that there were conditions, so.
Yeah, so, and then Christina, right? Is it Christina?
Yeah, Christine.
Christine, Adrian. So I mean, I love your work and it seems like you have a great following here, Adrian, but, so just like for the future, I mean, Deborah, how would, because I would hate to go back and say, this artwork, kind of maybe change this or change that, right? You guys put a lot of time and effort to that, but like in the future though, Deborah, can we have like more of a collaboration, like with these artists and then in general, not just with them, but is there a way or a platform or something that we can use to collaborate with these folks? Because it would have been nice to have not just council opinion, but also maybe open it up to
Don't
the
you
public
have
as well.
a cultural arts board?
This one through there?
No.
Okay.
But maybe through the cultural art boards, or maybe we can put something in the code that it needs to be approved by the cultural arts board, but you will be adding another layer. I don't know how often.
No,
they
that's
meet,
fine. I
they
just
usually
okay.
meet, so.
Well, future reference.
But yeah. But the thing of being us able to ask them to remove it is good because you don't know how it gets maintained over the years. So
Right.
it looks nice now. I don't know who the future owners will be if they don't keep it up, and
Yeah.
it will be that. And also that there are some pieces of art, some murals that are there in the city that never got any permits. So
Yeah.
it would be nice if we could have some kind of enforcement, no, that the ones that really want to do it legally that come here, and some enforcement for the other ones that do it without any.
Yeah,
permit.
no, absolutely. And it's just this, like I said, this area, this intersection is so, it's so key, right? It's probably one of the busiest intersections that we have here in Hialeah. Next year, we have our 100-year anniversary as well. So it's just, I kind of wish we had more involvement in the actual design, but it looks great. It looks great.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Ma'am,
If-
you.
Yeah, if I may. Okay, so fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing, a pop of art and, some flavor and really a thought out design. I think it's fantastic. Is there the color palette? How did you guys come up to this? Is this like a request that Verizon had asked for? They wanted those tones?
Yeah. Yeah, they wanted the reddish tones, just because we wanted like to come up with like a sunset look, but that still has like a Caribbean flavor. A lot of their brand colors are red, so we wanted to at least, maintain something there, because they didn't create this mural. They didn't ask us to create this mural to make it an advertisement. They wanted it to be for the community.
Right.
So that's why the only thing that we added was just some reddish tones to at least represent the client a little bit.
Okay. Because I would like to see some like of the pinks that are Hialeah, like to go back to the flamingo, especially since it's our centennial year. And I think that would be a really nice piece. And it's gonna be across from Westland Mall, which is, an anchor property that's gonna be coming up there. So something that kind of maybe ties into I could understand, respecting their logos and, the tones of the palette that goes with their company. But if there's some kind of, I don't know, pinks or aquas or something that gives an homage to our city, right? I guess that would differentiate, the other mural colors that you used at the other cities that would kind of identify us. I think that would be fantastic. If there's a way of infusing that.
I'm pretty sure that there is. They'll do it.
I think these are all, I just wanted to say through the chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
These are, it's really just sort of a artistic, contractual, technical kind of comment. These are all wonderful ideas, but the council just has to bear in mind that this is not public property and this is not a city-funded project. So it's a subjective issue, but you're basically talking about an artist that is creating something for a commercial tenant. So, I mean, it's fine. I just want the council to be mindful. It's not a municipal project. That's,
Right.
thank you.
Right.
No, but the same way that we have regulations on, signage and on all of that, I think that we have some type of input on, we don't want it to be just, we want to have some kind, I would think that the council would want some kind of collective theme within all the murals that come up. And I think it would be nice to have like maybe that, at least the tone, to have some pink in there that makes it all kind of come together throughout the city, I think would be a way to keep it unified.
Yeah.
Through the chair.
That's my
Yes,
opinion.
ma'am.
I want to second on what Monica, again, I know you guys are the artists, you're the experts. I love it. I love where it's going to be at. I think that's going to be a great asset to our community there. I think when people think of Hialeah, they think of those pink, green, aqua. If you can, I think that would be great. But my question is, okay, so it's private property, right? What if it's not upkept, right? What if something happens, the wall cracks and now it looks bad? What happens there?
So as artists, we always protect our walls and we always go back and fix them at least on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And our walls are protected with anti-graffiti layers so that no graffiti will be able to stand for long.
Okay.
We can always pressure wash it off. And Verizon has done a pretty good job at upkeeping always. Like if there's anything ever wrong, they were able to fix the walls and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, we're as artists, we're really proud of our work, and we pride ourselves in making sure that our murals that are out in the public always reflect and look beautiful in the cities that we beautified. So that's very important to us. So we always tell Verizon and any client that that's what we do to upkeep the murals.
Awesome. Thank you. That answered it.
And one more thing about the colors,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we can add like pink flamingos and stuff like that. I just know that on a Verizon
Mhm.
standpoint, that the aquas, I'm pretty sure we can, but it's just because of the AT&T color.
Right, I get it. I
You
get that.
understand? There's just,
Yeah.
that's why the
Okay,
colors
I
were
get that.
chosen, like that. But I don't think they have a problem with pink. So I
Okay.
think we're good for.
I can add something.
Yes, please.
That what you saw is the exhibit, so you're approving based on that exhibit. This is first reading. So if you want to ask them to propose something different, they will need to bring another exhibit, because if not, everything is very subjective, and what you think maybe is not the same that they think. So if you want to ask them to bring another proposal with another palette, if not, this is the one that we're accepting, this exhibit that we received here.
So
Yeah.
through the chair, so does that mean that, I know this is first reading, if we all decide to approve it at second reading, would they be able to show us an updated version?
So
Does that work?
So again, I think like how I mentioned earlier, right? Like we want this to be collaborative, right? And something that you guys first and foremost could do, right? And then if you got to spend a little money, is that okay? Like, so we want to make sure that you guys give us the okay first on any ideas that we may have. I would think, we can approve this as amended perhaps, and then at the second reading.
Right, you can approve it that way, or you can say, you approve it conceptually, or, that but you request, certain things to the artists that are on the record. I mean, put it this way, maybe the best answer to give you about that is that it's the same mural, more or less the same property. There's no issue with first reading or anything like that. I mean, those changes can be made for second reading, okay? If that's what you're asking. I mean, you don't have to, redo this or go back to, I mean, you just have to,
Yeah.
if you're gonna ask something of them, again, art is subjective. If we've all heard these things before. You just have to be as clear as you can, because otherwise, I don't know if your intention will be manifested in the
I guess-
artistic
Right.
inspiration or product.
I guess approving, if it doesn't get approving with contingent that we receive a final draft of the picture, right? Of the
Well,
mural.
Or you can ask them to bring like another alternative,
Mhm.
and then at the next meeting, you look at both alternatives and you
And pick-
decide which is the alternative that is approved. I think that will be the correct. And they also, I'm sure they have to consult with their
Right.
clients, and the clients need to approve the palette. So
Right.
they will come at the next meeting and say, okay, these are the two alternatives, or the client only wants this alternative, and then you decide, so.
So, right, if you want to do that, you would say that you're approving, but you're also requiring that, just like they did agree to say that they relinquish any rights in writing, and that once a current tenant leaves, the city may request that the owner remove it, may. And here you'd be adding that you're also requiring that the artists bring an alternative rendering,
Yeah, an alternative color palette.
an alternative color palette. Yeah, that's a better word. That's great. If that's satisfactory to you, for the council, to consider, alternatively. And then you just have to be very clear which one you're approving. It has to be in the record, so there's no confusion. That's it.
Yes, sounds perfect. I think that's great.
Well, then that's a condition. Do you accept that?
Yes, would we have to resubmit, or is
You don't, Ms. Storch will, I don't think you should have to go through the whole rigmarole again, but.
No, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
You just need to email us like the second alternative if your client accepts. And then for the next meeting, we'll give them this alternative and the other alternative, and they will choose.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, we approve the conditions.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
All right, so do we have a motion with the conditions?
Motion with
Motion.
condition.
We have a
Motion.
motion by De La Vega, and we have a second by Vice President Colo.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item has passed. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for September 24th, 2024,
You want to tell them the time?
5:30 PM.
5:30, please.
Listen, I mean, the time is particularly important when you're doing continuances or
Yeah.
deferrals, because the idea is that whoever, you just want them to know
Yeah.
when you're just, going to the next meeting, it doesn't become.
No,
I just want you to understand.
No, I know, I'm just pulling your leg. All right, thank you so much, guys, appreciate it. All right.
Before you go to the next item, since we have, many times we have these discrepancies or what is art, or when you ask for the
Mm.
incentive points, someone went to Marshall's and bought something and put it there and say, this is the two pieces of art, this is art. So we are creating, there's an upcoming ordinance for the MBD that we are amending the MBD. And we are also creating a design guidelines book. So there we will put, this is a mural, and we will explain a little bit more, so it's a little bit more clear, and then we don't have these interpretations that are so subjective.
Yeah, you guys are not gonna buy a frame at Ross, right, of paying this? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Item
you.
K,
First reading of proposed ordinance approving a final plat of Ludlum Plaza, accepting all dedication of avenues, streets, roads, or other public ways, together with all existing and future planting of trees, shrubbery, and fire hydrants. Property located at 8155 West 12th Avenue, Hialeah, and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
all right, this item is the first reading. Do we have any council discussion? What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion.
We have a motion by the Vice President.
Second.
We have a second by Councilman Zogby. Please call the roll.
Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Tumidor?
Yes.
Mr. Zogby?
Yes.
Mr. Calvo?
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega?
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robes?
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for September 24th, 2024.
All righty, item L.
First reading of proposed ordinance granting a conditional use permit pursuant to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-181, to allow a K through third grade elementary school with a maximum capacity of 24 students in conjunction with a 24 children daycare, a variance permit to allow the expansion of a legal non-conforming use of an existing daycare, and a variance permit to allow 2 parking spaces where 5 are required, in contrast to Hialeah Code of Ordinances, section 98-218. Property located at 6861 West 14th Court, Hialeah, Zone C1, Restricted Retail Commercial District, and legally described herein. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All right, this item's in first reading, not open for
Is it me?
discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Didn't we already discuss this item last?
They had to re-advertise it. City Attorney, is that right?
Because it says first reading, but I.
There was a defect or a defective notice in the advertising, which means that under Florida law, you have to re-advertise.
Oh, okay, but it's not first.
All right, perfect. Mr.
It
Mesri?
was withdrawn, the original application, now this is a new one.
Okay.
Cesar Mestre at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida. Even though it's on first reading, you did have a full presentation last time.
Right.
You actually took a vote on half of it. But we noticed at that time that there was something wrong with the wording. So we're back here with the same exact thing.
Okay.
It's a standalone building. It's been in business since the 1985. This is the one that had no parking. We went back, met with the city. We were able to get 2 or 3 parking spaces off-site. We removed one of the playgrounds, and now we have 2 parking spaces on-site. I just wanted to show you, if I can, the last slide. The one before last. Number 8. there, that slide. I just wanted you to see that although we are officially going to work with the streets department to do at least 2 parking spaces, possibly 3. I want you to notice that on the south side of the street, across the street, and all the way around the school, there's folks that are parked there all the time. And that's what's been happening for the last 35 years. So we're going to have spaces inside, we're going to have official spaces outside, but it's never been a burden to the neighborhood or anything. It's always worked out perfectly well since 1985. We're not increasing the capacity. We're only going to be K through 3rd grade, 24 students and the daycare 24. So I would ask you respectfully for approval. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Councilwoman Perez, second by the Vice President. Please call the roll.
Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Tumidor,
Yes.
Mr. Zogby,
Yes.
Mr. Calvo,
Yes.
Ms. De La Vega,
Yes.
Ms. Garcia Robles,
Yes.
Ms. Perez.
Yes.
Motion carries. The item is approved. Second reading and public hearing is scheduled for September 24th, 2024,
What time?
5:30 PM.